Module 5, Call Forth Order. Before we get started on this module, I just want to check in with the Formulate Your Philosophy. How's things going? Have you used your GPS system? Have you sat down and really thought about those principles that could guide you? Where did this information come from? Where did this knowledge come from to create these beliefs around your principles, the values that you live by, which then determine your behaviours and how you think and act in the world? Identifying that principle, knowing that identity that you want then, and the behaviours and the reward that it will give you. And the great thing about a personal philosophy is it never leaves you. You can call on it. It becomes your guidance system in times of hardship or challenges or the reality that we face sometimes. In that moment, you can take that few seconds and call on that guidance principle system to say, who is it that I want to be? Do I want to be that calm person, that person in control, the one who can think with clarity, think without emotion sometimes, where sometimes the impulses take over? Can I stand back and think logically about things and put a structure there? And then have you called forth your model watcher? Who is it? Why have you chosen them? Are they stopping you doing the behaviours that you know are not right? Are they going to really be able to change certain things in that split moment when they're looking over your shoulder, knowing full well that that's not the person that you want to be? So Formulate Your Philosophy, a foundation module with some great tools, some real deep thinking tools. And again, these evolve those tools. So just keep constantly looking at them. Don't forget to teach them. If you really feel like you've got the confidence and you think that there's somebody out there close to you that could really benefit from those tools, then please teach them. So module 5 is Call Forth Order. Now this is really around the future and getting some real clarity about what the future holds and getting an understanding about the future that you desire, but also the one that you don't. Now this came as a real benefit to me on my challenge. When I was ill and I was trying to find my way through it, I had to constantly remind myself around the future that I wanted. I started to choose and design the future that was ahead of me. And it was a powerful learning journey, really. I started to realise that we have a great capability of reaching into the future, thinking about what we want, and then bringing that capacity into reality and start planning it. But it was really about, how do I do this? So once I got the questions there, and there was one defining question that really stuck out and I use all the time. And that question is what I'm doing now leading me to the future that I desire? Or is it leading me to the future that I don't desire? The one that I should be fearful of? And that question, that personal question, has stuck with me for many, many years. Are my actions leading me to the future that I desire? But more importantly, what is the future that I desire? How am I going to design it? So this last module really is about putting your future out there and starting to design it and not falling to it by default. And we start to look about what motivates us, and I start to discuss about intrinsic and extrinsic motivations. There's a lot written again about intrinsic and extrinsic motivations. Your intrinsic motivation, what drives you, what can really get you moving, raise the energy, is your internal. So feeling, it's a meaning bit, it's the purpose bit. It might be achievement. It might be rewarding yourself with something. It might be that you have this pride. So this is the inner feeling, and this is so powerful. People do things for a lot of times for this intrinsic motivation. It drives them from within. They want to add value. And extrinsic really is an end result, something that you can see, something that you can get. Sports people do it for trophies, for medals, but also then there's the intrinsic about that achievement and feeling like you've you've really added value to yourself and you've worked hard and you're proud of that personal discipline. But the extrinsic is the reward at the end, something that you can touch, something that you can feel. Some people look at it around money. Some people look at it around job promotion. Some people might be buying a car, a television. The extrinsic is something you're working towards that you can see, that's really attainable. So the question is, what's driving you? What are you really motivated about? Is it the feeling bit, the reward bit that you get? Or is it something externally? And these things drive different people. There's no right or wrong. If you can link both of them together, then it becomes a very powerful force, especially with the future that you desire. What is it that you desire in the future and why? The why bit. Clarity brings understanding. If you can't see the future you desire, how are you going to understand how to get there? That's one of the key things here, is having clarity about what you want in the future. And I know that sometimes it can be so far away that it seems unreachable, but start first with clarity, that thinking on paper approach. What is it that I desire? What is it the future that I really want to work towards? And again, it's little steps. It's not sometimes jumping to like big future goals. It's about, okay, so am I progressing to that future that I really want? Are my actions, my mindset, the way I'm thinking really helping me to get to that future desire? Or am I going the opposite way? We either progress or digress. We're either going towards or we're going back, or sometimes we stay where we are. So thinking about, once I get true understanding, true clarity, true reasoning why I'm motivated, is how do I progress? How do I take those small steps? And what's knocking you back? Again, I talk about association. Is there things that you're associated with that's maybe taking you in the wrong direction? It's got you down a different path. Is there people around you that may be talking in your ear and creating negativity or talking you out of things? Are you associated with the wrong people? And is there people that you need to be associated with, what I call expanded association? So are you progressing? But you can't progress to something that you can't see and understand. So that word clarity comes to mind again. And the power message that I'd like you to consider about setting up your ideal future, the setup I call it. Design your future in advance. Go to the future, bring it into reality, and then you can have that, build that capacity to start to formulate what future that you really want, that desired future, and keep away from that future that you don't want. Because in the end, we're going to arrive somewhere, aren't we? By design or by default, we're going to arrive somewhere. In 3 years' time, you're going to arrive, but where? Now, if you haven't got clarity about where you want to be, you're going to arrive by default. But if we can really start planning and seeing the future in advance and then bringing it into our reality, we can start putting a plan together. We can really start having a strong vision of what we want that can create that intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. And it becomes such a powerful force. So this module really is all going to be about designing our future, seeing it and bringing it into reality. Start thinking on paper and putting the puzzle together and working out a plan, and then taking action and applying it, and then constantly working towards that and bringing these other people with you, these people that you care about, to the future that you desire. And it creates that purpose and that motivation, and sometimes that obsession and that drive, because that vision of the future could be so strong that it just becomes an obsession, and you can just work it through with your philosophy behind you as a foundation, the way you think, the aims that you can work towards, the habitual consistency. You can start to all bring it together and really work towards that future. So I hope that helps in some way. Thank you for your time, energy and focus. On the next training video, we're going to introduce the rocking chair moments, a great visual tool, an imagination tool about how you can see the future and start bringing it into reality. So thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next video.